93 million. That is the number of adults in the United States alone who are either diabetic or pre-diabetic right now. Not at risk, not borderline, actively diabetic or pre-diabetic with measurable damage already occurring inside their blood vessels, their kidneys, their nerves, and their eyes. And here is the number that genuinely stops me cold every time I say it out loud. More than half of them do not know. They are going about their lives, eating their meals, following routines they have kept for decades, completely unaware that their blood sugar is running dangerously high every single morning before they have even left the house. Not because of genetics, not because of laziness, because of breakfast. The most trusted meal of the day is quietly doing more metabolic damage to seniors over 60 than almost anything else I see in clinical practice. My name is Dr. Philip Paulson. I am an internal medicine physician focused on cardiovascular health and senior wellness. And before I tell you which breakfast foods are doing this damage, I need to explain something about the body after 60 that most people have never been told. Because without this context, the rest of this video will not make complete sense. After 60, your body's ability to regulate blood sugar changes fundamentally. The pancreas produces insulin less efficiently. The cells throughout your body become gradually less responsive to the insulin that is produced, a condition called insulin resistance. And your liver, which normally acts as a glucose buffer, starts releasing sugar into the bloodstream at times it shouldn't. The result is that the same meal producing a modest blood sugar rise at age 40 produces a dramatically steeper, longer spike at age 68. Same food, same portion, completely different metabolic response. That gap is where the damage happens. Here is why breakfast is specifically the most dangerous meal for blood sugar in seniors over 60. During the night, your body goes through a natural process called the dawn phenomenon. In the early morning hours, typically between 4 and 8 a.m., your body releases a surge of hormones, including cortisol and growth hormone, that signal the liver to release glucose into the bloodstream. This is an evolutionary mechanism designed to give you energy to start the day. In a younger body with fully functioning insulin response, this glucose release is quickly managed and balanced. In a body over 60 with reduced insulin sensitivity, that morning glucose surge is already running higher than it should be before you take a single bite of food. So, when you sit down and eat a high-carbohydrate breakfast on top of an already elevated fasting glucose, the combined spike can be severe. Catastrophically so over months and years of repetition. Before I get into the specific breakfast foods, I want to pause for a moment. On this channel, we cover a lot of ground: blood sugar, medications, heart health, nutrition, and I know it can be hard to keep track of everything when you're watching. So I've put together a free resource, a 2-page PDF in the description below this video. The first page is a medication interaction checker card, a simple reference that helps seniors check whether any combination of medications they are currently taking is dangerous without them knowing. The second page is a word-for-word doctor's appointment script. Not tips, actual sentences you can bring into the room with you. The download link is seniorsaids.com, and it is in the description below this video you are watching now. Takes about 30 seconds to get it into your inbox, completely free. Grab it, then come back, and we will keep going. The first breakfast food I need you to reconsider is orange juice. I know this one is going to be difficult because orange juice has been positioned as the gold standard of healthy morning routines for the better part of a century. It is on every breakfast table, in every hotel buffet, recommended by generations of well-meaning parents and grandparents. But here is the clinical reality. A standard 8-ounce glass of orange juice contains approximately 26 grams of sugar, with virtually no fiber to slow its absorption. Fiber is the mechanism that buffers glucose entry into the bloodstream. Without it, that sugar hits your system almost as fast as a soft drink. The glycemic response from a glass of orange juice in a senior over 60 with any degree of insulin resistance is nearly identical to drinking a can of soda. And because it carries the health halo of being natural and full of vitamin C, most seniors drink it without a second thought, sometimes 2 glasses every single morning. The second breakfast food is instant oatmeal. And I want to be very precise here because this one requires an important distinction. Traditional rolled oats or steel-cut oats are genuinely beneficial for blood sugar management. They contain significant soluble fiber, they digest slowly, and they produce a modest, manageable glucose rise. Instant oatmeal is an entirely different product. The manufacturing process that makes oats instant involves pre-cooking and processing the oats into smaller fragments that digest almost immediately upon eating. The glycemic index of instant oatmeal is dramatically higher than steel-cut oats, sometimes nearly double. And most commercial instant oatmeal packets, the flavored varieties that line supermarket shelves in apple cinnamon, maple brown sugar, and peaches and cream, contain between 12 and 20 additional grams of added sugar on top of the already rapidly digesting oat base. Seniors eating flavored instant oatmeal every morning genuinely believe they are making the healthy choice. The blood sugar data tells a very different story. The third food is white bread, including white toast, white English muffins, bagels, and most commercially produced breakfast breads that are not explicitly labeled as whole grain with a fiber content above 3 grams per serving. White bread has a glycemic index of approximately 75, which places it in the same category as table sugar in terms of how rapidly it raises blood glucose. The refining process that produces white flour strips away the bran and germ of the wheat grain, the 2 components that contain virtually all of the fiber and most of the nutrients. What remains is essentially pure starch that your digestive system converts to glucose within minutes of eating. For a senior over 60 whose insulin response is already compromised, 2 slices of white toast in the morning is metabolically almost indistinguishable from eating 4 teaspoons of sugar directly. The fact that it is savory rather than sweet makes no difference to your pancreas whatsoever. The fourth breakfast food is commercial breakfast cereal, including the ones marketed specifically as heart-healthy, high-fiber, and diabetic-friendly. This is one of the most successful and sustained marketing deceptions in the history of the food industry. And I say that as someone who has spent a decade reviewing the actual nutritional data. A cereal carrying a heart-healthy endorsement on its box may have as little as 1 gram of fiber per serving, while containing 12 or more grams of added sugar. The high fiber claim on many cereals refers to added insoluble fiber, processed wood pulp fiber added after manufacturing, which has minimal impact on blood sugar response compared to the natural soluble fiber found in whole foods. When you add milk, particularly low-fat milk, which has a higher sugar-to-fat ratio than whole milk, The combined breakfast produces a blood sugar spike in seniors that can reach dangerous levels within 30 minutes of eating and take 3 to 4 hours to fully resolve. The fifth breakfast food is flavored yogurt. Greek yogurt, fruit yogurt, yogurt parfaits, the entire category of flavored and sweetened yogurt products that have been repositioned over the last 2 decades as the responsible, protein-rich, gut-healthy breakfast choice. Plain, unsweetened Greek yogurt is genuinely beneficial. High protein, low sugar, reasonable for blood sugar management. The moment flavoring and sweetening enter the picture, everything changes. A standard 6-ounce container of commercially flavored fruit yogurt contains between 19 and 26 grams of sugar, more than a chocolate bar in many cases. The protein content, which is the feature being marketed most aggressively, does partially offset the sugar spike. But in a senior over 60 with compromised insulin response, that offset is insufficient to prevent a significant blood sugar elevation. And the granola that most seniors add on top, because the marketing has positioned the yogurt and granola combination as the pinnacle of healthy eating, adds another 20 to 30 grams of rapidly digesting carbohydrates on top of an already problematic base. I want to take a moment to explain what is actually happening inside your body during these morning blood sugar spikes, because the mechanism is something most people have never had explained to them clearly. When blood sugar rises sharply, which happens within 15 to 30 minutes of eating any of the 5 foods we just covered, your pancreas responds by releasing a large surge of insulin to bring that glucose back down. This insulin surge does not just lower blood sugar. It triggers a cascade of effects throughout the body simultaneously. Inflammation in the walls of blood vessels increases. The liver is signaled to store fat. Triglyceride levels in the blood rise sharply. Blood pressure ticks upward. And critically, the oxidative stress on your arterial walls, the same slow-burning damage that leads to cardiovascular disease, accelerates. Every single morning spike is not just a blood sugar number on a meter. It is a physiological event that leaves a small amount of cumulative damage behind. Repeated daily over months and years, that damage compounds. Now let me tell you what to eat instead. Because this video is not about removing breakfast. Skipping breakfast after 60 carries its own metabolic risks that I will address in a future video. It is about replacing 5 damaging choices with 5 genuinely protective ones. Instead of orange juice, eat the whole orange. The fiber in the fruit dramatically slows sugar absorption, and the blood sugar response is a fraction of what juice produces. Instead of instant oatmeal, cook steel-cut or rolled oats and add a tablespoon of chia seeds, which multiply the fiber content significantly. Instead of white bread, choose bread with at least 3 grams of fiber per slice. True whole grain, not bread that is brown-colored white bread with caramel coloring. Instead of commercial breakfast cereal, consider eggs. 2 eggs produce virtually 0 blood sugar response and provide high-quality protein that stabilizes glucose for hours afterward. And instead of flavored yogurt, buy plain, full-fat Greek yogurt and add fresh berries yourself, controlling exactly what goes in. There is one more dimension to morning blood sugar management that almost nobody discusses, and it is arguably as important as what you eat. When you eat it, and in what order you eat it. Research published in the journal Diabetes Care found that eating protein and fat before carbohydrates at the same meal reduces the post-meal blood sugar spike by as much as 73% compared to eating carbohydrates first. 73%. That is not a minor adjustment. That is a fundamental restructuring of the blood sugar response from the same plate of food. The mechanism is straightforward. Protein and fat slow gastric emptying, the rate at which food leaves the stomach and enters the small intestine where sugar absorption occurs. When you eat your eggs before your toast, or your Greek yogurt before your fruit, the glucose from the carbohydrates enters your bloodstream slowly and steadily rather than in a single overwhelming surge. This one habit alone, eating in the right order, can meaningfully reduce morning blood sugar spikes without changing a single food on your plate. One of the simplest and most underutilized tools for managing morning blood sugar after 60 costs nothing and requires no equipment. A 10-minute walk after breakfast. Not a long walk, not an intense workout. 10 minutes at a comfortable pace within 30 minutes of finishing your morning meal. The research on this is remarkably consistent. A short post-meal walk reduces the blood sugar spike from that meal by approximately 12% compared to sitting. In a senior with insulin resistance, that reduction is even more pronounced because the muscle contractions during walking allow glucose to enter muscle cells through an insulin-independent pathway, meaning your muscles absorb sugar from the bloodstream without needing insulin to facilitate it. You are essentially giving your overworked pancreas a 10-minute break while simultaneously lowering your blood sugar through pure movement. The compounding effect of doing this every morning for 6 months is measurable in A1C numbers. I have seen it in patients who made no other changes, just the walk, every morning, without fail. Let me bring everything together because I want you leaving this video with a clear action plan and not just a list of things to feel anxious about. 5 breakfast foods that are quietly spiking your blood sugar every morning after 60. Orange juice. Replace it with the whole fruit. Instant and flavored oatmeal. Replace it with steel-cut oats and add chia seeds. White bread and toast. Replace it with true whole grain bread, carrying at least 3 grams of fiber per slice. Commercial breakfast cereal, regardless of its health claims. Replace it with 2 eggs. Flavored yogurt. Replace it with plain, full-fat Greek yogurt and add your own fresh berries. Eat your protein before your carbohydrates at every breakfast. And take a 10-minute walk within 30 minutes of finishing your meal. None of these changes require a prescription. None require expensive supplements. They require knowing what the problem actually is, which you now do. The information existed before today. Now it is in your hands. One last thing before you go. Everything we covered today, the 5 foods, the swaps, the eating order, the walk, this only helps you if you actually use it. Most people watch a video like this, feel informed for about an hour, and then life gets in the way. I do not want that to happen to you. Meanwhile, as I mentioned earlier in this video, there is a free resource in the description below this video. It is called the Senior Patient Toolkit. The link is seniorsaids.com, and it takes about 30 seconds to download. It costs nothing. If this video helped you understand something about your health that you did not know before today, share it with someone over 60 who needs to hear it. And subscribe, because every week on this channel, This is what we do.